Hey gang, Carl White here, broadcasting from the studios today here in the secret headquarters of the Mortgage Marketing Animals. And you are listening to Loan Officer Freedom, number one podcast in the world today with loan officers. And today I am your co-pilot because the pilot in command is Miss Christine Haas, coming out of Austin, Texas. Everything's awesome in Austin. How you doing, Christine?
I'm great. I'm so grateful to be here, Carl, and to be part of Marketing Our Animals podcast. You guys have a great following.
Well, I have to say, I don't know if I've ever felt more inadequate than I do at this very moment because you've got a background in broadcasting and studio work, and you've got that great smooth voice. Your diction's impeccable, and I'm just an old hick out here in the swamps of Florida trying to make a buck.
Oh,
And
right, sure.
so that's actually where we met. We met in a Christine and I met in a mastermind group that we mutually belonged to.
Yeah.
It was of like industry thought leaders, but not this, like all sorts of industries. Christine, yours was like in broadcasting and public relations and things like that. And
That's
so
right.
anyway, we met and hit it off. And I think I was stalking you here recently and heard that you had a new something that you was working on the cutting edge. And I thought, I've become who I am today, whatever that is, by hanging out with super smart people on the cutting edge of things. And so I got you on here. So you're now with AI Mortgage
Yeah.
Newsroom.com. And boy, that AI stuff, this is a hot topic right now, isn't it?
It really is. My goodness. And speaking of stalking, I think I was the one who wanted to stalk you because I see you as such a thoughtful, a brilliant guy. And so such a wealth of information. So thank you for having me here first
Well,
and
the,
foremost. But
well, the
yes,
evil scheme is
AI.
working then.
But AI is so exciting. It really is. And it's one of those things that for me, entrepreneurs can easily get shiny object syndrome, right? I mean, I think I can speak for a lot of people who kind of go, well, what about this? And what about that? And I've certainly been guilty, but I really tapped into this one right when I started learning about ChatGPT in November. And I guess it's the journalist in me. I started researching all these tools, and couple times I was like, I got to stop this. Like, I have to focus on my core business. This is ridiculous. And on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I'm like immersed in learning this stuff. And so finally I realized I really like it. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's a reason why I'm so drawn to it. And so here we are with a new facet of a business opportunity. And I'm really excited about it because I believe it will change everything, no matter what industry we're in.
About, I don't know, 2 months ago or so, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Perry,
Yeah.
and I told him, he was telling me, and Perry,
Belcher.
and this, Christine, I'm saying this for our listeners. Perry's one of the smartest humans I've ever met, like literally. I mean, this guy really is super brilliant guy. And he's very much of I call him a fortune teller, which doesn't he's not reading tea leaves per se, but he really knows where the puck is going. Like that's what he's known for. Anyway, I told him, I said, he's talking about the AI. I said, Perry, I'll wait till you guys figure it out, and then you can teach me because I'm going to sit in the background on this one for a little bit. He said, Carl, that could probably be the single biggest mistake you've ever made in your life. He
Yeah.
says, because on the AI, you're either on the train or you're on the tracks. That this AI is gonna really be a game changing thing. Christine, just for like, and I know a lot of people have been hearing about AI and it's been a hot topic here lately, but just give us the basics, like what actually is AI?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's something that is a buzzword right now, that everybody's talking about it, mainly because of the popularity of ChatGPT late last year. But AI has been around for a long time. When think about GPS, we've been using GPS for a long
Mhm.
time. That is AI. And now it's just changing and becoming more advanced, of course. But it really is any system that's going to leverage human capacity or human data online for learning. And it's going to deliver content that is at a level of complexity that supersedes our capacity. So it's really using that machine learning. It's learning off the content and grabbing and gravitating the data that it finds online and then regurgitates it and improves it in a place that we can't do in that speed. And in many cases, in that bandwidth, that intelligence. It is able to spit out things in seconds that would take many people, an hour to write, emails, blog posts. So it really is something that is advancing. And we've heard from Sam Altman and Elon Musk that, there needs to be some regulation because of the fast growth of this. But ultimately, it's something that's been around for a long, long time. It's just now advancing at a super wicked scale.
Yeah. And I think what we're just starting to scratch the surface on is there's way more to this AI. And obviously, this, I'm saying this to myself, probably more than anybody. There's a lot more to AI than just ChatGPT. That's just kind of scratching the surface. In fact, you were talking here while we were in the green room before we hit the record button. You mentioned something about that you're, and by the way, I want to make sure to give a plug here that if you, our listeners, if you go to aimortgagenewsroom.com, that Christine, and she's kind enough to invite me to participate in this, is running a free newsletter specific to the mortgage industry on AI type topics. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about that later, but make sure you go subscribe to aimortgagenewsroom.com. But we were talking about how you're helping your consultant for a real estate company that's using AI for recruiting, like how, and I guess we could do the same sort of thing in mortgage, for our branch managers, I suppose, that's looking to recruit. So how are they doing that? You started to describe it to me, and I cut you off because I wanted to hit the record button first.
Yeah. Well, there are so many use cases. It could be onboarding. It could be a tool to bring people into your own mortgage brokerage, or in this case, the real estate brokerage, to make sure that nothing is outdated. One pain point that I keep hearing in the real estate component, and I believe it would probably transfer to the mortgage industry, is that people might change brokerages. And when they do, they're still attached online in certain areas, maybe it's social media, LinkedIn, or some blog post to the previous agency because of the frequency that people might move around. And so what we're trying to look at is design something that is much like a franchise. So when you buy a franchise and any franchisees that come in underneath you, you are specific to make sure that they take step 1, step 2, step 3 to onboard and make sure everything is across the board the same, right? So we're trying to build that whole franchise component, the dashboard, so to speak, through AI tools to let that brokerage stand apart and say, you know what, when you come on board with us, we are going to make sure that your marketing is turnkey because we have the latest AI tools to make sure that you have all the assets available immediately. And the biggest thing, I think, no matter what industry, but specifically in real estate, and of course the mortgage industry, is you want to be able to focus on high activity or high value activities. You don't want to be spending your time spinning your wheels, number one, looking at the latest AI tools and, going, getting lost down the rabbit hole, but finding out what are the best ways to use your time. And Carl, I know you preach all the time that the best way to get great deals and great connections with customers or realtor connections and referrals is to get on the phone, right? And so if you're spending so much energy on your marketing and your emails and your newsletters, and you're doing it the old way without using AI tools, you are losing time when people who have embraced AI, who are doing it in light speed and getting in all platforms within, a half hour, and you're still over here building out your own emails and working the hard way. So essentially, I believe that what this will allow people to do is improve their productivity, reduce their overhead, because now you don't need all that other stuff in the background. Maybe you have a couple content marketers, whatever it might, or content writers. You can really streamline the cost of what you have because now these tools will allow you to do it. And I go into that later on and we can talk about it, and we'll talk about it in the newsletter about all these simple ways to use really descriptive prompts and those types of tools that I've done all the research on and I think would add a lot of value to your folks.
And just because our folks frankly spend a lot of time at title companies at closings, right? Because that's what we do is we help people get to closings. When you said that you can help us with the prompts, just for those of us that aren't up to speed yet, what is a prompt?
So ChatGPT got a lot of popularity. I think now a lot of people think that that's AI. It's just one facet of AI. There are so many other tools out there, but prompts are basically the way to get the answer, the content out of the AI that you need. So, it's very easy to go into ChatGPT. And I should say the first version or the current version, so to speak, without a plugin is only a ChatGPT 3.5 or 4.0 is really only up to September 21. So there are various plugins, and I go into this in the newsletter of the ways that you can use plugins that will bring that up to date. So you don't have to worry about dated content. But what you can do is talk to that particular chat. So try to think about it as building it on a stair step. What you do is you open a chat with ChatGPT and you ask it to be your you're the human counterpart. And now, ChatGPT, you are my expert marketer to help me write an email or a newsletter. So you frame this chat and you continue to train that chat or that machine through that narrative. Then you tell it exactly the area that you're in and you ask it. So I'm in Austin, Texas. Tell me what the latest data shows on real estate for the first quarter of 2023. It will answer it. Then you say, tell me how that compares to 2022. I'm making up content here, but just so you know, it will build and learn off of everything that it brings. As long as you stay in that same chat, you are training it. So then the prompts basically will allow you to dig deep into that. But what you always wanted to do, and I go into this in some of these free prompts that I'll provide, is you ask it to ask you questions back. When it doesn't know an answer, do you understand? You will ask me the question you need to give me the output. It'll say yes. Then it'll give you the questions. You can build business proposals. You can build the amount of content that you can build, books, ebooks, lead magnets, you name it. With these new plugins, it just makes me so excited. But the prompts are everything, because if you do a very blanket prompt, like tell me what the trends are in real estate, you're going to get very basic answers back. But if you are able to give it the content it needs to build off of, it will give you very specific answers. And you could literally ask it to say, you know what, tell me I'm going to make something up. Tell me the reasons why people in Austin, Texas would not want to buy or sell their home right now in 2023. And it will say probably because they're higher interest rates and they have lower interest rates that they've already locked into. Okay, tell me what might change those dynamics. It will give you the pain points back and it will help you answer objections that you might get during a sales process.
Very interesting. One of the first things when I first got ChatGPT, I put in a thing. My house is not for sale, but I put, give me a description of my house insert in my address, as if I'm selling it as a realtor.
Yeah.
And oh my God. I mean, that's all I said.
Yes.
And it gave and it talked about, my white granite kitchen counters. And it's like,
where did it get that? Yeah.
Yeah. Where did it get that? And the only thing I could figure is like permits or something, because I never wrote that anywhere. Like it described the inside of my house.
Yeah.
And I have no idea where it pulled that information from, because I never wrote it. And I've owned the house for 7 years and we completely remodeled it when we bought it. So it's not like an old description or something. So I still don't know. I have no idea where it got it, but it was uncanny on how accurate. And it talked about, from the, gaze out on the bedroom over the, the private lake. And it's like, how did it know that my house in the bedroom overlooks, like it didn't talk about looking at it over in the dining room, which you can't see it. It was talking about the bedroom where you can see. And it freaked me out a little bit. Like, where to get the information? Speaking of freak out, let's talk about the elephant in the room here just for a second. A lot of people are really concerned about the AI. I'm going to lose my job. And I look, there are going to be some job reassignments, I'm going to call it, for sure. Mm-hmm. Just like when they invented the car, whoever made buggies for horses had a bit of a hard time at it for a while until they learned, oh, I guess I better start building cars or something.
Yeah.
How are we going to apply that here in the mortgage industry? Frankly, not that it matters what we think, because it's going to happen whatever we do, whatever we think, whether we embrace this or not. You're either on the train or on the tracks.
That's absolutely right.
But let's address that here in the mortgage industry. Like what if you look, I don't know, gazing your crystal ball or whatever, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so many industries, everybody has to pay attention to this, no matter which industry you're in, especially content writers. I look at content writers and I think, my gosh, the other day, I also still work in the PR industry as well. And I was able to have ChatGPT, or the latest plugin, write an entire press release, and it was pretty darn good. And it was with AP style, which is Associated Press style, which is the PR, like top tier. You have to write it in that format. It was able to do that. So I used to hire people to do that. I don't need to anymore. And it was done in 5 minutes. Certainly people on my team have learned, and I'm training them. But to answer your question, do you remember when, I don't know, I'm dating myself here, but I grew up outside of Chicago. And, I remember on the days I'd ask, what's the weather going to be like, as a little girl, and I'd call time and temp, and there was a number that you'd call and it would give you the temperature and the day and the temperature and the forecast for the day. That's long gone, because now we pick up our phone and look at anything, right? Yeah. It's the same kind of thing. It's just advancing technology in different ways. Is every mortgage broker, going to lose their job? No, we're still going to need the human component. But who will advance and really, really scale are those that are going to embrace the technology, use it, and set themselves apart from the competition about how they are advanced. It's the customer experience too. The ability for you to not only communicate and automate with personalized content to your customers without any extra energy. You set it and walk away, and now it's set up for your entire year, 33 touch points, whatever it might be, to continue to communicate with those nurtured leads down the road. Or the realtors you want to continue to connect with to make sure that you have referrals, or there's some way that you can stay in touch, whether it's videos. The people who can do that will catapult their business. Like, it's going to go crazy because they're able to just soar past those that are going to avoid it. So yeah, I think that there's always going to be some folks that might lose their jobs, but it's because they're not realizing that they can just make a little pivot over here, add a little extra value, and soar. Instead, if they keep doing the same thing, think about it. If we, when the internet came out, if we didn't embrace that, where would we be? Nowhere. Look at us now. We're on Zoom. We saw all that happening through COVID. It was out of necessity. So people have to see this as a necessity. And I cannot say that enough. And who am I? I'm just somebody who's like a really big geek on all this stuff. But at the same time, look at the thought leaders who are creating this. They're scared of where it can go. And the only way that we can actually understand what is happening is if we learn it. The other thing is we have to be really careful of is deep fakes. When you think about cybersecurity, you're in mortgage and finance. This is a critical thing. Things can be falsified so easily now. So it's really, something that people have to understand proactively, and to be defensive about things that could come up. Because if you don't know what you don't know, it could really harm your business and your reputation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you're talking about the displacement of jobs. If the content creators, if they'd focus on, I don't know, how to be a professional prompt person.
Yes.
Right? I'll help you with your prompts.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is, there was just an article recently. I think they were saying the going salary right now for somebody who can be an, top prompt creator, it's like $600,000.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's everything. Prompts are everything right now. And so, by the way, when people do go to the AI Mortgage Newsroom, I do have some free prompts for anybody listening to this, so they can kind of get an idea of what we're going to offer and how it might help them.
Great. Hey, just real quick, and I want to get back to this on the AI Mortgage Newsroom .com. That's going to be a newsletter
weekly newsletter we're doing,
and it's going to be weekly.
Yep.
right? And you and I have teamed up together, and we're going to be doing that together. You were kind enough to invite me to be a part of that. And so I'm really excited about that. What kind of things can we expect on that? Like what's the idea?
Think of it as I'm the journal. It is a newsroom. I'm the journalist going through all of the latest tools so you don't have to, and telling you which is going to be best and how it will apply to the mortgage industry and how it will help you overall. Certainly, there's so many use cases for GPT, whether it's, the plugins latest for Open Table for reservations and stuff like that. But I really want to narrow in on how I can help business owners in their own space. And so in the mortgage industry, think about like Fireflies. There's tools like that. I don't know if you've heard of Fireflies, but Fireflies will allow you to just record any calls that you have, whether it's Zoom, it just automatically connects with your calendars. Maybe it's Google Meets or whatever it is. It transcribes the entire meeting. You no longer need an assistant on your calls taking notes. And so think about it. If you're on a sales call, you record that with Fireflies. You then can go back into the transcription and ask it questions. You can ask it to give you the deliverables or the dates that you might have forgotten during that. Like, when is that due? You can ask it questions within that platform or that transcription, and it's going to tell you the talking points or any narrative that you need. So it's remarkable. There's plenty of other AI tools out there that are similar, but this one is quite inexpensive, and I think it's my favorite. We're going to do case studies of these types of tools in the newsletter, and I'm basically going to mine through all the stuff that might be, yeah, it's good, but that's a little more expensive. This is the one that's most popular, and this is why. And I'm going to do a tutorial video for people to learn how to use those, because it's one thing to go through and be like, yeah, that looks good, but do I have to really, have the bandwidth to figure out how this works? I'm going to help with that. Another one really easy is like web ChatGPT. That's that plugin that you can easily go to through Chrome. You just type in, and for anybody listening, WEB ChatGPT, and it's a plugin through Chrome, and that will give you ChatGPT real time. And it will also allow you to see any other plugins that are coming up. Another one that's really cool that we'll go over in there is PDF. So essentially, you can upload a PDF into ChatGPT, and it will tell you anything you ask it about the PDF. You know how it is. It can be so cumbersome to read some document, or maybe even it's a financial statement. If you need summarization of a financial statement, it's going to come up there, answer it for you in minutes. So these are the kinds of things that excite me. And what I'm going to do each week is feature different products and then do like kind of tutorials on how to implement them. And like we were talking about prompts, I'll show case studies of like, okay, this is how we would build out an entire marketing plan for the week, or a social media calendar for the week. And, it's a bit overwhelming, but it's exciting. But I'm excited to bring it to your audience.
So again, that's AImortgagenewsroom.com.
Yes.
Pardon me, AImortgagenewsroom.com. And it's free. Like that, it doesn't cost anything. So really cool. Hey, I got a question on things like ChatGPT. Does it limit how, like, if I copy and paste, I don't know, a book, can I copy and paste and upload an entire book into it? Or is there a limit that allows me to upload?
Yeah, it's really frustrating actually, because sometimes I will do something like that where I'll copy and paste an entire big article and ask it something, and it'll say, no, you've exceeded your limit. So that's where that plugin of the PDF really comes into play, because you can then upload different documents. You can do different formats too, but the title is PDF, and it will allow you to do it in that format. There's also another, so when you get that plugin that I mentioned, if anybody's listening and wants to go to it, I can tell you quickly, if you go to ChatGPT, open it up, and you already have an account, you go down to the bottom left corner, and it'll say settings where your name is logged in, and it'll say beta. And then there's a couple others, and it'll allow you to pull in the opportunity to do a plugin. So that's where you select it. And I'll have more of that like turn by turn directions in the newsletter, probably the first one, because I think that will be helpful. But those plugins will help you with that exact thing. In addition to that, there's another platform called Quillbot, and it was very popular, still is popular for writers. So say you get something from ChatGPT and you're like, it sounds a little robotic. I want to go and make it sound a little more, professional, or maybe I want it to be in a different tone. you can then go to Quillbot and it'll rewrite it and paraphrase it so it doesn't sound like it's a robot writing it. Now there are plugins right in with that beta program that will allow you to rephrase your entire thing. And Carl, I mean, a lot of people have used different voices that they want to mimic. And for you, I mean, you're already out there. ChatGPT already knows your voice well. We put in, the prompt, so to speak, of like, write this email about X, Y, and Z in the voice of Carl White. And it sounds just like you. And that's out there. But it's pretty cool to have that. But to answer your question, yeah, the plugins are where it's at to be able to get these different opportunities for longer content, and even YouTube scripts. It'll bring that and it'll give you like play-by-play of what image to use right next to the script.
Well, I'm looking for that plug-in where I can say, make me look like Brad Pitt. And I think that's what I'm looking for.
Midjourney. We can do that with Midjourney for sure.
So there is one. I don't doubt. I think this is going to be a great opportunity also for, I know you're going to give us some great information that's going to give us opportunities to like teach classes or put things out to our past database, like some home ideas that they can use on AI. I was talking with a very successful loan officer just 2 days ago. We're doing this thing in the mortgage marketing animals where we have these done for you PowerPoints and classes with us recording the class as an example for a loan officer to have. Anyway, so this one lady was one loan officer. She was adding one of the classes to our large library that we have, and it was on the headshot.com or headshots.com. Yeah. Just brief. What does headshots.com do?
Yeah, it's I think it's headshots. I'll find it. There are a couple of them out there. I think I wrote one down. I'll find it. But yeah, basically you upload a photo of you, and it may be one or two. And I think it's like $10, and it'll give you AI images in different outfits. From what I saw, I didn't do it myself, but a friend of mine did. It gives you about 100 different options, and about 2 of them look like they might be usable. But for $15 or $10 or whatever it is, it's worth it, because now you haven't had to, get a new outfit. You haven't had to hire a photographer and get your hair and makeup done. Certainly you get your hair and makeup done all the time. I know.
All the time. Yeah, but I could go get that Western outfit without having to buy the Western outfit, So, yes. So I think, and I think a lot of this, and we were talking about this, a lot of this, I think we kind of got the tiger by the tail here, and we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, that's right.
This is a very powerful thing, and where it's going to be 6 months from now, it's going to be way different than where it is today, as we're just figuring this thing out. And I guess by the nature of AI, it's learning too, like it's learning us and how it can help us even better. And I think, like in the early, we were talking about this yesterday, Christine, you and myself. Well, we're in the early days of the computer. The very first thing they had computers doing was playing games. I remember when the first computers came out, and they were our home computers, and all you did with it was play Pong, that little, tennis game on TV kind of thing. And so here we had a computer, and all we knew how to do is play games. And I think at some level, I think we've already moved past that. But at some level, this is a little bit of, okay, this is cool, but what exactly I do with that? But I think learning this as it goes along is going to be a very, very, very valuable thing. And I think getting left behind on this, well, it's like pretending that the internet's not going to be a thing, and I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to do life without it. And who needs email? And all these things. And man, I know in the loan business, if it wasn't for the internet, you'd be in for a hard time. Like I'd say you can't do it. Like you literally can't do it. And I think the same thing's gonna be true with the AI stuff. So I see we're at the top of the hour. Is there? I know we could talk about this for hours, literally, and I love talking to you. Is there something I didn't ask you that I should have here in this brief amount of time that we've got?
Well, I really think, how can I help your audience? I'm so grateful to partner with you. And so I think the biggest thing that I would ask is anybody who has some, maybe make a list of the pain points in your own business, in your own daily life, and email me through, AImortgagenewsroom.com. Come to us with these case study problems that we can give and serve you. Because I think once I hear of someone says, how do you do that? I'd love to sink my teeth into that and show you turn by turn how to fix that or how to find a easier way to do that. So ultimately, I'd love to just hear from your audience of how we can serve them and really help and show this is something that will make your life easier. By the way, just so you know, I just finally remembered there's an AI for that is a great website that you can just go to, and it will tell you all the different areas that you plug in, like video editing. It's going to give you all the tools there for that niche or industry that you're looking for. It's remarkable. But I think the best thing I could say is email us, tell us how we can help you, and we'd love to do so.
What if I got an idea, and we're doing this on the fly, of course.
Yeah.
Why don't we have it so when they go to AImortgagenewsroom.com, that once they tell us where to send the newsletter to weekly, maybe on the landing page we'll have, hey, what would you like to know? Like we'll put a little box on that landing page. What would you like to know? And we'd really love some input. So if you've got some ideas or you got a problem you're looking to solve, man, Christine and I are just all in. We're really excited for this journey. And frankly, I think that it's a little self-serving because we'll learn more by your questions than we will by our own research. There's an old saying, and it's so true. The teacher always learns more than the student, because we have to prepare for this stuff. And so we'll benefit by you asking questions. So cool. I like that. So AImortgagenewsroom.com. Christine, the day I met you was a good day for Carl, and it's just an absolute honor to have you on the podcast here, my friend. I'm sure we'll be doing much more of this.
I'm so grateful. Thank you for this opportunity and the opportunity to learn from you.
All right. Sounds good. All right, gang, check out AImortgagenewsroom.com. Hey, do me a favor, forward this episode to 3 of your favorite loan officer friends. They'll thank you for it. I will too. And as always, we appreciate those reviews. That's what moves us to the front of the line. So, all right, we'll see you on the inside. Don't get left out. Don't be on the tracks. Get on the train. AImortgagenewsroom.com. I'm Carl White, your co-pilot today. I'll see you on the inside.